Okay, thank you so much. Once again, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks to all the guest speakers who availed themselves. Thank you so much for the privilege. I'm grateful. And to all our listeners, those who have joined and those who are about to join, thank you guys so much. I'm humbled and honored. Thank you, Gracie. I'll go there. So thank you. Thank you very much. So before the book launch, I remember Aidan is not here when we were praying. And Aidan, there's always a one prayer topic we always had in mind, that the opportunity, the good things that will come with the book. In anything you do, there should be something that comes with it. And I remember that prayer. Aidan always made. And so recently, I even told him that, hey, anything that you said during the prayer time, that yeah. So I thank God for growth. I haven't gotten to anywhere, but I thank God for growth. I was telling one of the ladies who co engagement that, hey, you are like you become speaking everywhere. You need to be learned like that. I was thinking you just go and talk like that. It's like, yeah, you have to learn, because there's something I'm keen on. Nobody claps for you for the same thing twice. No. You won't clap for me for the same thing twice. You have to see something different before you give me the applause. And that's how human beings are. So when we call you to come and speak to us, and you are the same way, next time they won't call you. And that's how human beings are. So every day and day, you need to make sure you add value to yourself. And I thank God that, the book brought a lot of opportunities, and we all could see, and we are seeing it. And one of them is to have the chance to speak with people. I know I talk a lot. I didn't know one day I'll talk to get paid. Trust me. I didn't know it'll be a source of income. I never thought of that. But God has been so good. I was talking to a friend that the good thing is that I have never go and ask them to put me the people, but they will come. And I'm like, I'm surprised. And you're like, oh, don't be surprised. That's how it is. But it's not the book. I don't think I'll be on TV. Trust me. So God will use the book to launch me. Let me put it that way. So, oh well, but then He used the book to announce me. And I'm grateful for transformation. I'm always contending for growth. And there's more. So I think as we are alive, I'll keep on being transformed and keep learning. And I thank God for the opportunities the book has brought, the side hustle, getting to speak to people, and for people to also. So I went to Koforidua. Yeah, that was last week, right? Yeah, Koforidua. And the whole, I think, was it the fashion department? The whole of the bought almost all the book I sent, they bought all for their students to read. And so I think this week I asked, some of them took my number, so I had to ask them how far. And I liked the feedback I got from them. So just this morning, I saw a message from someone who father has a farm, and she's about graduating and she wants to take up that challenge. So she needed help. Well, it's not my field, so I'm trying to link her to someone to help her. And that was something that I felt so fulfilled. At least some. I remember I went to Angela. Thank God for Angela's life. She listens. She sometimes tell me the review of what she get from the kids, and those I have their numbers as well. So apart from people getting one or two lessons to learn and revealing God through the book, mine personally, I've also gotten something from it, like the transformation aspect, and God using the book to announce me to my world. Thank you, Kwasi. Um, so I even I didn't plan to do a physical lunch. It was thanks to Emil. I went to the hospital and he said you need to do it physical. And thanks to one guy I used to see, one of my friends I used to say, no, you don't limit your influence, don't limit what you have in you. So just take the risk and do that. And so yeah, maybe. And I think I've learned to have more faith and to kill every doubt. And I thank God for the people around. Even when you have that small little faith, their words make you feel like hey, is there something that we could achieve it? And so I thank the people that God brought them around. And so, yeah, I was having that even on the day before the book launch. I remember even before, people will call and say, "Oh, I wanted to come for the book launch, but I'm doing this, I'm sick." And I remember Emma said, anytime you get that call, feel like the place is already full and some are leaving the hall and some are sitting inside the hall. And that changed my perspective. So anytime I receive a call, I say, "Oh, Edna, I'm sorry, I can't come." I feel like, okay, yeah, you're out of the auditorium. Someone else is also occupying your seat. And I even remember that day when I was at the place, arranged the place, I had a call. And like, the person, she can't come. I was like, "Oh, that's fine. She's at the hospital." And that was fine. I said, okay, thank God. Some is going out, some are coming in. And that, I remember I sort of want to call that day that, don't worry. Like everything that you said, you're gonna see everything. Don't worry. So maybe I have a little. I know I had hope, but not to beyond my expectation. But maybe the people around me could always tell me that there's more. This is just something small that God is gonna do with a book. And so, like I told you, I prayed. We prayed towards that. Every opportunity that comes with the book, we open up for it. And so maybe I was praying. Sometimes you can pray and your faith is less, but God can have mercy on you. And that's what I think that's prevailing. I prayed, we were praying, I had little hope, but God had mercy.
Okay, so I've read the book after its publication twice. Yesterday I read it again, and each time I read it, I get different impressions because the situations we are in influence how we interpret documents or books or words. So yesterday I will share my initial impression, from yesterday's reading. From yesterday's reading, I realized that this is a story of grit and determination. That was the impression I had. Because looking at, even from the first draft to the final draft, is a big difference. And we were determined to bring it out there. So going through again, I was just thinking, wow. So we've come from that place to this place. If not for determination, the book wouldn't have been out. So that's my initial impression from yesterday's reading. The others, I think we can keep it. Thank you.
It's always like reliving the moment whenever I have to speak about Edna's book, and in fact Edna's journey. The whole thing actually started with she telling me just a part of what she wanted to do. Trust me, I didn't have a full knowledge of what entirely she aimed at doing the day we actually met, but eventually I got to get the whole idea, put in the needed inputs. I had the opportunity to take a look at the drafts and all of that myself and Angela. So someone will say, then there's no need to read again. I mean, you were involved in the whole thing. So why read? But on the day of the book launch, I personally bought two copies, one for a friend and then one for myself. So I went through the book, and I'm not amazed Angela was saying that the impression keeps changing based on the situation in which you find yourself. Because at one point, you can relate so much with the challenges that it becomes your source of motivation and strength. At another point, it becomes like a piece of inspiration, and you know that if Edna started somewhere and by God's grace, she seems to be climbing higher, there's an opportunity in what you are also doing if you remain consistent. So I would say these two impressions are the ones that I have kept all these times after reading the book.
Okay, yes. So, I would, from my point of view, after reading the book, I realized one thing. that the God factor was consistent throughout the book. And this is the lady who has been helped by God through men. At every point in the book, you realize that God is glorified one way or the other. And I've come to believe that God is the lifter of men. Yeah, so this is the impression I had after thoroughly going through the book. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say that the first time I encountered Edna was at her book launch. I hadn't really had much interaction with her, though I was watching her intently on LinkedIn. And I've said it on the platform, and I'll say it again, that her energy and aura, and there's this genuineness. You see, as an artist, I can tell people that the expressions of your face are not only in your face alone, it shows in your eyes. So I tell people that if you are talking to me and you are giving me a fake smile, I can see through it because I can detect the features of your face, look into your eyes and see that these eyes generally show how you feel on the inside. So I look at Edna, I watch the live programs, I watch her speak, I'm like, this woman is just genuine. That's what drew me to her. And I'll say that having read through the book, wow, it was like a whole roller coaster. One of the first impressions on my mind when I read the book is, Edna, you are blessed and highly favored. That's all I kept saying to myself. Because the whole book was a sort of action movie for me. And the way, every now and then something comes up, things go dark, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. There are letdowns and they are lifting up. And the way she consistently kept on bringing up, yes, that God factor, so that he's actually a real part of our lives. He's not just a religious imagination of some sort. You realize that throughout the book, you'd see that dark times actually don't last. You just keep on pressing forward. And finally, among the first impressions, I'll have to say that there are many young ladies out there that need to hear a message like Edna's. She did a great job.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I saw the book, I think on LinkedIn, and it was everywhere. Like any person that I see on my timeline, the person has reposted the book, the person is saying things about the book, and I said, oh, I don't know what is really in this book, but let me buy it because I like reading some books. I like reading books like this. So I bought it, and I think it was on a weekday. I was going through some difficult time. So I told my supervisor I'm coming home because I'm not really feeling well. So I came home early from work and I read the book. After reading the book, I saw like I have a new energy, like something has inspired me to do more than what I'm doing right now. Even though I'm having a bad time, that doesn't mean things are going to be wrong. So yes, that's what I got from the book. So I decided to get close to her, learn more from her, and how she was able to pass through all those challenges. So that anytime I'm facing this kind of situations, I know how to deal with things and to make things better. And then since I grew closer to her, she has been helping me a lot with some sermons because everything's about God. I can see that about her. Like she really loves God and everything. She will tell me, you find it here, you find it in this sermon, you find it here. And since then, I can see my mindset and something is changing about me. How I was thinking about something is the book really inspired me and empowered me a lot to do certain things that I didn't think of doing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The first draft I received. Okay, let me say that when it comes to books, you can't judge the moment you see the first draft, because you know that you're going to do a lot of changes to the content, and even
I said yes. It means all females can do it. So if you don't believe in yourself, someone is believing in yourself and she's doing it. So you have to change your mindset that you have to start believing in yourself that your dreams, you are capable of achieving your goals. So you have to sit back and look at some things that you think is going to help you. So as for mindset changing, it's something that for me, I've changed my mind. Like I've understood certain things after reading the book and after having a personal conversation with her. Some ideas that I had earlier it has really changed. And even looking at the stereotype, like that, this industry is for this gender or this profession is for this gender, it will make you understand that what you are really passionate in, it doesn't matter what the society is talking about, you have to still go in for it and do it with like maximum best to be known for that industry. Like when they mention your name, you know that you are dominating this industry. You shouldn't think about saying this particular profession is for this kind of people, for this gender. No, because what Edna is doing, like she's dominating the, let me see, what the society called the male industry. So it means what you are really passionate of, what you feel like this is your purpose to do on the earth. You have to focus on that and make sure that dream comes true, not minding what the society is really saying.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Kwasi. Yes, and I must say there are a lot of lessons I believe entrepreneurs, as, especially the young ones, can learn from the book. When it comes to creating your own path as a young entrepreneur, there are a lot of things that comes in mind that, comes around you and all that. Her book and her title as the shoemaker alone is enough lesson to learn from, because how many ladies do we even see working as shoemakers in our part of the world? They are very few. They are very, very few. And the unique thing here is that she's a first class graduate, if you understand. So just imagine, she has found a purpose and a passion to build a legacy her dad started. Because I believe that normally after school, everyone wants a soft life. Everyone wants to, be working in a company or have a white collar job and all that. But then Edna's story has given us a different vibe. So when it comes to creating your path, I believe it's one of the things young entrepreneurs can learn from. And then also I would also want to touch on perseverance and staying focused on the bigger picture. I believe this a must learn trait every young entrepreneur needs to have. In her book, she didn't give up. She didn't get discouraged. I'm sure after she found out the number of ladies in the shoemaking industry, it's a male dominated one. But instead, she got inspired by this, and then she decided to make a difference. Now, whenever and wherever you mention the shoemaker girl, the first name that comes in mind is Edna Frimpong. I remember the first time I chanced upon her post on LinkedIn. I was like, the shoemaker girl, like, what's that about? You know. So after following her for some time, I realized, oh, okay, so she's actually a shoemaker girl. You understand? And she's making a lot of impact, considering her working in a male-dominated industry. So I believe that as entrepreneurs, we need to be focused on the bigger picture, because you are the only person who has seen the dream or who has the dream. You know how it is. You know how it would look when it's what actualizes. You are the only one who knows it. Therefore, you need to be stay strong, stay focused, and persevere. And these are some of the things that you get to learn when you read Edna's book. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kwasi. My favorite chapter is chapter 3, Life as a Nanny. I like this chapter because from the beginning, I realized that this is a lady who didn't grow up with her mother. And being a nanny means you should get motherly love, motherly instincts. So the fact that you didn't grow up with your mom, but you've not let that negativity take over your heart, and you're able to give love to children who are not even yours. I was fascinated by that idea. And I have, this is a personal thing, I have a issue with parenting and parenthood in Ghana and Africa as a whole. So when I saw that, I read it, I was like, how do you do it? How can you give love if you've not been given that kind from somebody who has to give it to you? So that's the part that really fascinates me, and I can relate with that in so many ways. Of course, I had my mom with me 247, but the other parts I didn't get. So I'm just imagining if it were me, I would be able to give that kind of love. So it was a moment of reflection for me. I was questioning my thoughts. I was asking if I have so much love as people think I do. So I think that's my favorite chapter. Thank you.
Again, so personally, it will be difficult for me to point out a particular chapter because reading through the entire book, everything seemed as though um, we are playing life in someone's book, that kind of thing. But I loved the fact that Edna could still stay on what she's doing and reconnect with her mom. You see, it's a very difficult thing. I mean, with my understanding as a health advocate, especially when it comes to the impact of society on someone's mental health. Okay. And when I say someone in this context, I'm referring to people who are young, because Edna's book is the story of a young lady. Now, how she actually embraces individuals